अच्छा
और जब आपका हो जाएगा इसको क्लिक करना और इसको क्लिक करना दोनों।
ठीक है, स्टार्ट कर दिए, वो आया नहीं
मैंने कर
एक्टर।
दिया सर।
स्टार्ट हो गया तो
बट मुझे नहीं पता वो
बच्चे ऑनलाइन होंगे।
आपको यूट्यूब लिंक है।
हेलो, एक हाँ यूट्यूब लिंक है वो। सी
केवल
हाँ। हेलो, गुड आफ्टरनून फ्रेंड्स। मैंने स्टार्ट करता हूँ। इधर कोई नहीं है। हेलो, गुड आफ्टरनून फ्रेंड्स। Right? Today we are going to start a fresh batch for modern Indian political history. Right? Hello. I have I have started class. हाँ हाँ कर दिया। हाँ हाँ प्लीज चेक कीजिए। हेलो। हाँ हाँ प्लीज चेक द वॉइस। वॉइस चेक कर लिया, स्टार्ट कर दिया। आप ओके कर दिए, मैं प्रोसीड करता हूँ। हेलो फ्रेंड्स, टुडे वी आर गोइंग टू स्टार्ट। हाँ जी। हाँ जी। वॉइस ठीक है ना, तो मैं स्टार्ट करूँ फिर लेक्चर आज का। ओके। हेलो फ्रेंड्स, टुडे वी आर गोइंग टू स्टार्ट आवर फ्रेश बैच। राइट है। और आपका जो फ्रेश बैच वी विल गोइंग टू स्टार्ट फ्रेश बैच विद द मॉडर्न इंडियन हिस्ट्री। राइट। As we know that the syllabus of modern history began after the death of Aurangzeb. But for the convenience of a student, first we learn about the freedom struggle that will start from the 1857 and 1947 first phase. We discuss about that, and then after the death of Aurangzeb, or you can say arrival of the Britishers, या arrival of the Europeans से हम करेंगे. But today class we are going to start from 1857 revolt, and first we discuss the national movement and then entire chapter we will discuss. तो पहला जो हमारा subject है, what we are going to discuss, that is the national movement, right? So we are going to discuss about the national movement, and today topic, today lecture topic is revolt of 1857, right? We will discuss all the topics from the MCQ point of view and also from the mains point of view, but the primarily focus will be the objective exams and then subjective exam, and after the lecture we will also discuss about the questions as well, probable or expected question that come, right? So the first point is that 1857 revolt. Today, first we analyze the nature, factor, and prominent leader of the revolt. See, 1857 revolt is considered to be the first war of independence, right? In the term of V.D. Savarkar, it is considered to be the first war of independence. However, there was a difference of opinion in this concern. V.D. Savarkar believed that it is a first war of independence. Some scholars like S.N. Sen also believe it is a war of independence. 1857 he wrote a book, S. N. Sen, right? S. N. Sen considered to be the national writer, yeah, official writer of 1857. However, scholars like R.C. Mazumdar believe that it is not the first war of independence, right? It is neither war nor it's a battle of independence. So, what I would like to say that R.C. Majumdar and even the many foreign writers also did not believe that it is a first war of independence, right? Benjamin Disraeli, however, believed that it is the national uprising. Ashok Mehta, one very famous writer on 1857, believed that Ashok Mehta believed that it is a great uprising, great uprising, right? So there are the different of opinion among the fraternity of the scholars that it is a war of independence or it is a Sipahi mutiny, because some believe it is a Sipahi movement, Sipahi mutiny. Some believe that it is a conspiracy. Scholars like Outram believe that it is a conspiracy of Christian against the Hindu and Muslims, right? Now, coming to the another aspect, why this movement started? What was the flashpoint? What was the factors that led to the movement, right है? इस मूवमेंट में जाने से पहले सबसे पहले हम देखेंगे कि जो prominent leader, we will analyze the prominent leaders that was associated with this revolt, right है? सबसे पहले first of all we will analyze the prominent person who was associated with this revolt, right है? And important center, right है? Important center, first one, आप अगर you will see the Barakpur, Delhi, Kanpur, Lucknow, Orissa, Bihar, Jagdishpur, nearby Patna, right? Jhansi, Bareilly, right? So there are the different leader that was associated with the revolt, right? We will also analyze the factors that led to this war. First, I am going to explain you the prominent leader that was associated with this movement. Now, coming to the Barakpur, as we all know that the Mangal Pandey was a prominent Sipahi who involved in the 1857 first martyr, Mangal Pandey. He was first martyr. He belonged to 34th Infantry, West Bengal, Barakpur, right? In the month of March, around 29, 1857. As we all know that in that time, there was a rumor that Britisher has introduced infield rifle, and infield rifle, they have to be used as some type of cartridge, and to open this cartridge, mouth say open, cartridge have to be open, and that's why you can say it was a rumor that it was greased by the cow and pig fat. So most of the soldiers have denied, right? Mangal Pandey was also victim of that, although Britisher making some differences in salary, allowance, fooding, they could not provide the good post to the Indian. So there was a huge discriminations, and that's why the first spark was started. Mangal Pandey was caught and hanged. Before that, he killed two British officials, right? One was Hewson and Sergeant Bagh, two prominent person you noted here that Bagh, Bagh, Sergeant Hewson, Hewson and Major Bagh, two prominent person was killed by Mangal Pandey and his supporters, right? Now, Mangal Pandey was hanged. Now, later on, what we see, month of May 10th or 11th, 1857, the moment reached to the Delhi, right? And you know, in Delhi, the last Mughal ruler, Bahadur Shah Jafar, Bahadur Shah was declared himself as a emperor of Hindustan. So Bahadur Shah led this revolt from Delhi. Bahadur Shah was not in fact a fighter, his commander Bakht Khan, but he was ceremonial, ironically, a Bahadur Shah you can say, but it was Bakht Khan. Bakht Khan. And around 12th of May reached to the Kanpur. Here, Nana Saheb, Kanpur, very prominent person, Nana Saheb, and his commander name was Tatia Tope. Tatia Tope. Tatia Tope. Tatia Tope later on caught by Britisher and he was hanged. Right here. Now, coming to the Lucknow, you know, in Lucknow, prominent leader was Begum Hazrat Mahal. Right here. Begum Hazrat Mahal, empire, Awadh and entire Lucknow, Awadh was annexed by the Britishers. So, Lucknow, the leader was Begum Hazrat Mahal. Begum Hazrat Mahal, right? Begum Hazrat Mahal. First, we are discussing the prominent leader, those associated with the revolt of 1857, right? Allahabad was Liaquat Khan. Allahabad, it was Liaquat Khan. Okay? And Jhansi, you know, in Jhansi, Lakshmi Bai. And remember, Lakshmi Bai original name was Manu or Manikarnika. He born in the Banaras. Later on, he shifted to the Jhansi and he fought bravely, but she fought bravely, but he died near Gwalior. Right? So they are the very prominent person. You can say they are the very prominent person who led to the revolt. Right? Faizabad, Muhammadullah, right? Muhammad Ahmadullah, he belonged to the Madras and he came to Faizabad and led to revolt. Right? Now, coming to the important British officials like Campbell, see Campbell, Neil, Vincent, Eyre and Taylor. Vincent, Eyre and Taylor has successfully fought against the Jagdishpur, Bihar, Kunwar Singh, who led to that place. Campbell led to the Kanpur, Nana Saheb, Kanpur, and even Lucknow. Nail was very important officers. Liaquat Ali, Allahabad, right? In Delhi, Nicholson and Hudson. Nicholson and Hudson, right? Nicholson and Hudson, where he found Nicholson and Hudson, Delhi. Lucknow, Lawrence. So you remember some British official as well. During the time of revolt, Britishers set their headquarters to control the army and revolt. It was Allahabad, right? The revolt broke out during the time of Canning. Lord Canning was last Governor General, right? And after the revolt, Governor General system was ended, and you will see that Lord Canning became the first Viceroy, right? Who was the last Governor General? The revolt took place during the time of Canning, and Canning became the first Viceroy. Remember that. Canning was first Viceroy. During the time of revolt, who was the British Prime Minister? Mr. Palmerston. Revolt के समय Palmerston. During the time of revolt, Palmerston. He was the Prime Minister of Britain. Lord Canning, the revolt broke out during the time of Lord Canning, and after the revolt, Lord Canning became the first Viceroy of India. So these are the prominent places where the revolt was started. Although we see the revolt was occurred in a scattered form. Now coming to the another point, that is why 1857 revolt was broke out. What was the causes of failure? What was the significance, right? So first of all, we analyze the factor or major causes, right? We are discussing about the 1857 revolt. In exams, the prominent center, prominent leaders, right here, and some British official may be asked in your MCQ type of exams, right? One thing you note here that Nana Saheb and Begum Hazrat Mahal fled from India to Nepal. Tatia Tope was a commander of Nana Saheb. Nana Saheb was fighting because of the pension issue. Tatia Tope has been hanged, right here. And Begum Hazrat Mahal fled to Nepal. Nana Saheb also fled to Nepal. Jhansi ki Rani Lakshmibai has been died in battlefield. Bahadur Shah Jafar, that is last Mughal emperor, was caught. He was sent to the Rangoon, right? And his wife Jinat Mahal also has been arrested. And later on, Bahadur Shah was died in the Rangoon, and his two sons was killed by the Britishers, right? So they are the prominent leaders. Prominent center, I told you, Kanpur, Allahabad, Banaras, Bihar, some places like Jagdishpur, Ara, Jhansi, Lucknow. Now coming to another segment, that is the factors that led to this revolt, right? Causes, major causes for the revolt. Factors of 1857 revolt. What was the major factor that led to the revolt of 1857, right? Now, first point, that is a political factors, right? As you know, political factor, economic factors, military factor, social factors, immediate factors, right? Immediate factors. So first factor, that is the political factor. The first factor we discussed, that is the political factor. As we know that Britisher imperialistic policy has created problem for the Indian rulers. After the Battle of Plassey, they tried to dominate over the princely state or native rulers, right? You see, Warren Hastings has started rings of Fence theory, right? Later on, it converted to Lord Wellesley subsidiary alliance. Lord Wellesley policy of subsidiary alliance, right? Subsidiary alliance 1798 1800. The first state that become the victim of, or you can say the victim of this revolt, yeah, they become the part of this tool, subsidiary alliance. Subsidiary alliance tool, yeah, subsidiary alliance was applied to the Hyderabad. So first state, please note down, Hyderabad become the first state, they become the victim of subsidiary alliance. It was introduced by Lord Wellesley, right? During the British era, you will see the native ruler of Indian were fighting to each other. Britisher took advantage of that and they given protection to one native ruler against another with army, armed forces. So Britisher provide protection. After some time, they capture the entire state if the ruler are unable to pay the expenditure of military, right? So this is the subsidiary alliance. Now coming to the another point, like doctrine of lapse. Doctrine of lapse initiated by the Lord Dalhousie. Lord Dalhousie, right? Under the doctrine of lapse, Britishers who provide the some military assistance or other assistance to the native ruler, if they die without any natural hire, in such a case, the entire province become the part of the British regime, right? So doctrine of lapse, and it was forcefully applied, right? 1848. And please note down the first state that become the part of, victim of doctrine of lapse, it was Satara, right? It was Satara, right? Now coming to another important point, in 1856 the Awadh ruler Mr. Wajid Ali Shah was dismissed on the basis of misrule. Please note down, Awadh ruler Mr. Wajid Ali Shah was dismissed, was annexed, captured by Britisher on the basis of misrule. Annexation of Awadh, Central Indian province Awadh, on the basis of misrule. On the basis of misrule, Awadh was annexed. Then Dalhousie also introduced 1854 Inam Commission. Inam Commission, under the Inam Commission, the landlordship of many landlord has been captured. In short, they dismiss landlordship. N number of landlord has dismissed. It was land was captured. Land was captured by the Britishers. So, Inam Commission also created dissatisfaction among the native ruler of Indians. Now, misbehavior with the Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah. Britishers deny to pay any tax that is called Nazarana. They show a disrespect to the Mughal Emperor, right? Hai? They also stop the pension to Nana Sahib, right? Hai? They stop the pension to Nana Sahib. They show disrespect to the Mughal emperor. They show the disrespect to the Mughal emperor, right? Bahadur Shah Jafar, Bahadur Shah Jafar. Bahadur Shah Jafar was also almost house arrested. They caught in Delhi. They cannot move from their palace, right? So, this type of political activity has certainly created doubt or dissatisfaction among the princely rulers and Indian masses. So, ultimately, it started a revolt, and it became a major factor for the 1857 revolt, right? So, we have discussed about the political factor, right? Political factor ko we have analyzed. There are the certain factor led to the cause of the 1857 revolt, right? Now coming to the economical factor, right? Now coming to economic factors. The economical factor is one of the major and prominent factor that led to the revolt because British exploitative nature, their main objective was to exploit India. Their colonial policy was totally against the Indian agriculture, Indian economy. It was totally against of the systems, right? Due to British policy, poverty has increased, deindustrialization has started here, commercialization of agriculture, and total destruction of handicraft industry, right? So this led to the certain type of dissatisfaction. It increased poverty, unemployment, impoverishment of the peasant. Peasants suffer, workers suffer, common man suffer due to the taxation policy, regularly famine coming, and Britisher did not pay attention to that. Unemployment was going on, drain of wealth was going on. So there are the n number of factors, n type of exploitation started during the time of Britishers, right? Since from the time of 1757, you see the plunder of Palasi, plunder, looting, it's a plunder of Palasi. Some historian describe plunder of Palasi, right? 1765 till 1772, it was the dual system in Bengal, right? Right here. From 1813 onward, you see home charges on Indians, right? Okay, commercialization of agriculture, commercialization of agriculture, commercialization of agriculture. Indian agriculture system was commercialized. Indian agriculture are now converted according to the British market, right? The regular product was damaged and most of the product was started in favor of the Britishers like tea, opium, cotton. The product which has the highest demand in the European market that was produced, right? So India become a center of production of raw materials, right? Raw material producing center India become. Traditional agriculture destroy. Traditional agriculture system was destroyed. Major product now was indigo, tea, cotton, right? The product which has a highest demand in the European market, that type of agriculture activity was started. Then cash has to be given to the farmers, and then you will see the land revenue was increased, right? Different type of tax structure also started. Tax structure, different type of tax structure, permanent settlement, Rayat Waris system, Malwari system, sunset law. So huge taxation policy, and even during the time of famine, they put tax to the Indian masses. So ultimately, it led to the total destruction of agriculture and tax structure. You will also see that Britisher has introduced railways and started industrialization, and this industrialization process certainly destroy a small scale industry and cottage industry of India. Britisher has started industrialization. It led to the deindustrialization in India, right? Britisher policy has destroyed cottage industry, a small scale industry, it has destroyed handicraft industry, right? In that time, Calcutta and Dhaka was prominent center for silk industry and cotton industry. It was totally destroyed. Worker become unemployed because handloom product was replaced by the powerloom product, right? Handloom production, handloom system was replaced with the powerloom. India become a market for British product. India become the market for British product, right? Unemployment has increased. Okay? Even due to famine, people suffered huge because Britisher could not rebate taxes, rather they put extra tax during the time of famine. So Britisher policy has certainly destroyed the traditional industrial system, and it led to unemployment, poverty. It led to the unemployment, poverty, and inequality in the society. So ultimately, British industrial policy has destroyed the traditional structure of industry and agriculture. When railway was introduced, foreign product reached to the remotest corner of India in village area, right? So India converted to the market, right? Railway, introduction of railway Railway 1853. The first railway line was set up Mumbai to Thane. The first railway line was set up Bombay to Thane, right? In month of April. And in the railway, Britisher has tried to collect a huge wealth from those company. They are totally dormant. The interest rate was very high, and they introduced railway line, and in this railway line project, British capitalists invested huge amount of money in India. They earned also huge money, right? And Indian cheap labor they employed, even they did not pay remuneration to those laborers. So ultimately, it created a dissatisfaction, discontentment, and another major factor, that is drain of wealth theory. Drain of wealth. Drain of wealth. This theory prominently propounded by Dadabhai Naroji. Dadabhai Naroji. You see, R.C. Datta, Economic History of India, he wrote. Economic History of India. Drain of wealth theory propounded by Dadabhai Naroji, right? So, huge amount of money. Basically, British sir take their salary in either gold or cash, right? And in this manner, they shifted money from India to England, right? And you will see some reports say that every year 30 to 40 pound money has been transferred from India, right? Again, the Bengal, yeah, even the rest of India totally destroyed by this, because Indian cheap labor, they exploited them. Even the farmer was captured, they have been beaten up by them. They could not pay their remuneration, and huge amount of money, gold transfer from India to the abroad. So ultimately, the economical policy of Britisher, their colonial policy, has created a dissatisfaction among the masses, because increasing inflation, poverty, unemployment, loss of job led to the dissatisfaction, and people was looking an opportunity to fight against the Britishers, right? Now, coming to another important point, you can say, that is the social policies, right? Social policy, although Britisher was very rational social factor, you can say, they initiated the certain reform, right? They started certain reform like abolition of sati system, 1829. Please note down the date. Abolition of sati system during the time of William Bentinck, right? With the effort of Raja Ram Mohan Roy, William Bentinck has ended the sati system 1829, right? So this was a social reform, although it was good for Indian society as well, but in that time our people was not so enlightened. They don't accept the reform system. They want to their follow their conservative and their traditional system. So this thing, you see, during the time of Ram Mohan Roy, yeah, even William Bentinck has initiated the English education under the Macaulay. They prepared the Macaulay Mint, a draft for the speaking in English. They introduced English in place of Indian traditional education system. In 1813, Christian Missionaries started schooling. They set up many university. Untouchability was going to end. Untouchability was going to end in 1856. Bido Remarriage Act. Bido Remarriage Act. Sati Pratha, Bido Remarriage Act, co-education, female infanticide, all such things ultimately led to the change in Indian society. But in that time, as we are not expecting such big change, that's why Indian people have protested, and ultimately it play a role of catalyst that Indian masses got dissatisfied under the British rule, and it led to the revolt. Now, coming to the another major important point, that is the military and Enfield rifle. There was a discrimination. Indian people were not given more than the post of Havildar. Even they interfere their social life. Like they oppose why you are making tilak, why you are doing some rituals. They oppose them, right? So interference was another reason. That's why Britisher has. That's why Britisher policy was widely criticized by the Indian masses, right? You see, interference in the religious faith, issue of bhatta, allowance, payment, issue of rank. Discriminatory policies. They use the discriminatory policy toward the Indian masses and Indian soldiers. They have not given good rank, even good salary, even fooding also, right? Mangal Pandey was an example of that. When Britisher abused them, when Britisher discriminated them, in that time he reacted, right? And the movement was started, right? General Enlistment Act also passed. General Enlistment Act. According to this, Indian soldiers have to cross from the Indian land to the ocean by ship. However, in that time it was taboo. Those are crossing sea, it means they are dying. So Indian soldiers have denied. Even the upper caste Brahmins also deny their faiths, their rituals. So people was highly dissatisfied. Soldiers was highly dissatisfied because of British discriminatory policy. And the sparking was started when they introduced Enfield rifle, right? Enfield rifle, one rifle that was used during the time of the Britishers, right? And it was considered that it is a very sophisticated weapon, but it's not a sophisticated. I will tell you, it was it's need some kind of greasing, lubricant, right? And you know, greasing required some fat, and fat was made with the cow and pig fat. Grease was made. It was rumor, it was, some say it was a true. So it created a spark, right? ये यहाँ जो it was a turning point, it was a turning point, it could start a trigger. Now revolt started. Now revolt started from the Barakpur, and in quick succession, entire India. This movement has spread, right? This movement has a significant role to increasing nationalism in India. It led to the start of several small and big revolt to the India, right? It created some awareness, some agitation among the masses. So, from the 1857, we constantly see the regular and constantly different type of uprising, whether it is a peasant, whether it is a academicians, and different type of movement was started, and that's why some scholars believe it is the first war of independence. So we have discussed about the genuine factors, social factor, economical factor, political factors, military factor, immediate factor that led to the revolt. Now coming to the why this movement was not become so successful as it was expected, why some scholars consider that it become a failure, why the 1857 revolt become fail, right? So we are going to analyze this topic now, the failure of this movement. Failure of this movement 1857, right? First point, lack of unity and coordination among the leaders. Second point, lack of centralized leadership. See, when we are talking about the failure, we can analyze that there was no unity. Different character or different freedom fighter were fighting for their own personal reasons. For example, the pension issue, Nana Sahib started protesting. Bahadur Shah Jafar, their honor, their crown was taken by the Britishers. Similarly, Begum Hazrat Mahal, Jhansi was also captured by Britishers. One very big landlord, Kunwar Singh in Bihar, their landlord system was captured. So the different prominent character was fighting for the different reason. They don't have a good coordination. They are not fighting uh, from the personal contact and all. They are not going to talk with the leaders. They are not centralized. They are not united, right? So lack of unity, lack of centralization led to the failure of this movement, right? What we see, the middle class, especially the peasant class and intellectual class also did not participate. Another point you can raise here that the peasant and middle class, educated class, middle class, educated class were educated intelligentsia. You can say the middle class and peasant farmers, they did not contributed strongly. They has not taken a good interest. They were not satisfied with the revolt. They are not aware. In fact, they did not support to this revolt. So there was an isolation. The large number of people was isolated from this movement. They were not going to contribute in this movement. That's why this led to the failure, right? Then shortage of fund, shortage of funds. Some scholars believe that due to lack of fund, due to lack of financial support, this movement could not become successful because there was a crisis of fund. Britishers have a huge money, huge resource. On the contrary, Indian masses, they don't have a huge money and resource. Even the railway, Britishers has used railway prominently. If you see, the railway was used for the suppression of the movement, right? They used railway, and their weapon was very sophisticated. Indian masses or Indian leader, they don't have a sufficient sophisticated weapon. Even though they don't have a good skill of fighting like Havelock, Nell, Outram, Western Eye, even Hugo Rose, right? So their skill also was the one big question mark. Their weapon was old. They mostly use a traditional weapon, arrow and all. But Britishers use the gunpowder. They have a automatic assault rifles and all. So the weapon also important point. So there are the different factors like issue of weapon, resource, lack of support, lack of coordination, unity, and they don't have a common agenda as all, right? So today class we have analyzed the prominent center, prominent leaders. One. Then we have analyzed today that the factors that led to the revolt, right here, and why this movement become fail, why this movement, some scholar believe that it is a one of the failures, right? So we have started today modern India. First we discuss the national movement, and then we discuss about the rest part. This is very prominent from your exam point of view. This is the national movement. First topics we are discussing, and it was not completed today. Tomorrow we will discuss more on that, right? So if you have any doubt, if you have any question, you can ask me, you can write it, right? So for today class, it is thank you for today. Thank you to all.